Hello folks, welcome to G4G here on YouTube. If I sound a little shitty today, that's because I'm getting over a multiple day cold. Don't know if it really turned into a flu or not, but Wednesday and Thursday of this week I was definitely pretty sick. Friday, a lot of the sickness had lifted, but my body still felt like shit. So, here we are on the eve of New Year's Eve. And we're looking at wrapping up 2017 and discussing kind of what happened throughout the year and maybe going over things kind of in chronological order to a certain degree. We're definitely going to be jumping around a little bit. But, alright, so let's start it off. What did we have going in 2016 or 2017? Well, towards the beginning of the year, we had For Honor coming out as a beta, and then it went live. Sadly, For Honor never really took off the way that it was supposed to. It was a pretty decent beta. Certainly a game that felt better being controller-based, even if you had it on your PC. The beta had a great following. Did happen to catch Sacriel playing it when he would stream it a lot, and I happened to really like Sacriel when I started watching him stream Evolve. He really made me want to get Evolve, and he kind of made me want to get For Honor, but by the time that the beta had wrapped up, I think I kind of knew spending money on it was going to be a little bit risky, and certainly it wound up being, it would have been a risky thing. For Honor just never took off the way that it was supposed to, and kind of like Evolve, just died a slightly premature death. Not much you could do there. At the beginning of the year, Cody boxes came under a lot of fire, especially over in Europe and more specifically England, selling quote-unquote fully loaded Cody boxes, or as some people might know, XBMC, Xbox Media Center, became a crime. And it's something that I cannot honestly believe that it would become a crime over there, because selling alcohol is not a crime, but getting in a car and driving drunk is a crime. So if selling the beer legally to of-age people and not excessive amounts is legal, it only becomes illegal if you consume too much or do illegal activities after drinking, like having open containers or driving drunk. Then why is selling a quote-unquote fully loaded Cody box illegal? You are not selling copyrighted content. You are not sending a hacked Amazon Firebox or Fire Stick with a bunch of pirated movies on it. There's just add-ons for Cody that give access to it. You should go after the people who download or stream those movies, or the hosts, not really the seller. Well, unfortunately, the case did go up and was heard, and it was declared that a fully loaded Cody box is illegal, and now it has started to spill into the States. So, as more and more people get interested in cord cutting and getting away from big cable and dish companies, satellite companies, even DirecTV companies, when you have Roku and Hulu and Netflix and PlayStation TV and everything like that, it's a major blow to see this happen to, Cody sellers and everything like that. And, they put a lot of work into it, and certain Cody box sellers will even promise support. So, real shame there, and it is a real shame to, unfortunately, see this begin to spill into the States a little bit. So, also, around the beginning of the year, we had Fire Emblem Heroes come out on mobile platforms, and, similar to Pokemon Go, it's kind of a gotta get them all deal. I started off playing a little bit of it, but never really continued with it. And honestly, it sounds like a game that I would like. It just never stuck with me for some particular reason. And it had problems running on certain devices. Like some of my iOS devices, it would just disappear, like it would just crash. And just had issues loading it. So we saw Battleborn go free to play. Kind of not surprising there. Paladins continued to run open beta patches until that went fully live. But now, Paladins is coming under major fire for really becoming not beginner friendly. A lot of the changes to the system with the cards and everything like that really did high-res in a little bit, and people were very, very upset with the changes that had occurred to Paladins and the way that cards were dealt with and everything. I mean, they almost seem like they changed every other patch, and now it's kind of in one of its worst spots ever. DC Legends really began to kick off in 2017 and get more and more robust with its lineup and begin to get better synergy on teams. Started to develop meta heroes in there, and then there are counters to the meta. So if you are looking for something that is really taking the place of Marvel Avengers Alliance in terms of strategy and how you set your teams up, honestly, DC Legends is the way to go. I'm loath to admit that because I'm way bigger of a Marvel fan than the DC universe, but it is certainly the truth. If you want a gameplay experience on mobile that is fairly similar to the Facebook Marvel Avengers Alliance experience, DC Legends is probably the way to go, other than having a generic quote-unquote agent type character. If you did want to find a agent type character, your best bet there is to go to Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast and consider your Eddie characters kind of like the agent for Marvel Avengers Alliance. Speaking of Marvel Avengers Alliance, this is the first full year that we did not have Marvel Avengers Alliance 1 and 2 around. Obviously, the game died in 2016, but we still got 3/4 of 2016 under our belts before it died. So 2017 was a sad year for us MAA fans because it was the first full year without the game. However, there is 2 rays of hope coming in Marvel Strike Force and Saviors of the Multi-Universe. For Saviors of the Multi-Universe updates, just check out other videos on my channel. Supposedly, Gaming Life, or Beginner Gaming Life, the dev of Saviors of the Multiverse, came out of the woodwork recently around Christmas to send a private message on Reddit to somebody, and that, I think it was Mercury Epsilon. Mercury Epsilon kind of gave him a rundown of what was happening in Discord with some scripts and sprites and spec ops and what the community was doing, and then Gaming Life chimed in with the fact that he liked what he heard, was working on fixing some of the bugs, like some login issues and animations. However, we have no proof of where Gaming Life is right now. Again, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer and say, you know, we're definitely in for the heck and bamboozle here, but it would really be nice to have something that makes us believe. I mean, this is like our parents telling us that Santa exists and just having to take their word for it rather than staying up and seeing him, you know, put presents under your tree and eat your fucking cookies and milk. So we want to see some eating cookies and milk over here, but we will definitely see what happens over there. Gigantic went live after being in open and closed beta for several years and then was summarily shut down. So Perfect World Entertainment grabbed Motiga, which produces Gigantic, from Microsoft when Motiga and Microsoft ended their relationship a while back. Hearing that Perfect World Entertainment gets a hold of somebody is definitely a death knell when you hear it, because there are quite a few games that they really fucked up, including Blacklight Retribution from back in the day. So people really kind of held their breath when they saw Motiga go over to Gigantic. and wondered, alright, so, you know, what's going to happen? And sure enough, it did actually happen. You can go in and play the game, but there is no more active updating of the game. There is no more progression in terms of coding for the game and everything. And it's really sad because Gigantic is a very good game, and it's one that I've played for several years on the Xbox One, and then it came out on the PC and the Xbox One, also on Steam and Arc clients for Windows versions that were not Windows 10. Heroes of the Storm trekked along throughout the year with updates like Valera and Lucio, Heroes of the Storm 2.0, which smoothed out the leveling progression, UI changes. Another recent big change in Heroes of the Storm went into effect with the towers and the stealth rework and everything. Back in DC Legends, we had Aquaman, Siren, and Mira come out. Of course, Siren has been my favorite, that particular update. Marvel Future Fight had a big update over in March. Smite Tactics came out, which was a tactical game based in the Smite universe with cards. Probius hit for Heroes of the Storm. Legion saw its first full and complete year in World of Warcraft with some updates like the Broken Shores and Argus. We also had an amazing BlizzCon in 2017 that was heavily World of Warcraft based, that is going to introduce us to Battle for Azeroth in 2018. Hopefully we start seeing the beta for BFA in early 2018, and my guess is that we will see BFA anywhere from May into maybe July. I'm hoping May, based on some previous how things have gone for expansions in previous years. We also saw the vanilla server controversy come to a head with certain vanilla servers, certain very popular servers like Nostalrius and Felmist getting shut down super quickly. Well, Felmist did. But then Blizzard said, hey, we're going to do vanilla servers ourselves. But now people wonder, you know, what exactly does that mean for a vanilla server? Will it start off with the final patch of vanilla? Will it start off with the first patch of vanilla? Will it be a progression throughout vanilla? Will you maybe start at 1.1 and then eventually get over to the point of where the game ended up right before TBC? You know, where will they lock vanilla in? That's going to be very interesting. We have the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 update in Marvel Future Fight. Let me just sum up and say, and we will come back to Marvel Future Fight several times throughout this video. Marvel Future Fight and Netmarble had a very up and down year. Gigantic roller coaster with that. So we had more Overwatch heroes dropping in Heroes of the Storm, like Lucio and Diva and Ana and Genji and more recently Hanzo. Then around the end of the spring, Quake Champions came out as a closed beta and is now live. We also had Lawbreakers come out from Cliffy B, who used to helm the Unreal series for Epic. Unfortunately, Lawbreakers has amounted to absolute shit because of its pay-to-purchase price. Not that the price is high, but the fact that it was pay-to-purchase. And also Cliffy B has a habit of pissing people off. Several times in Lawbreakers history, the concurrent user count has gone down as low as 10, which literally means there is only one match going on. Quake Champions, of course, you have to fight the skill curve in that game, as many people who've played Quake Champions are very, very long time Quake players and are just very used to the game and, you know, could thoroughly dominate the landscape when even new blood is brought into the game. Whereas Doom multiplayer seemed a little bit more balanced, Quake Champions was a little rough. And I was never a competitive Quake player, but I played all the Quakes at the time that they had come out, and I was a competitive UT player. But Quake is such a throwback that some of those skills, if you had them, could have definitely been gone. In the late spring, early summer, we had the X-Men update coming out for Marvel Future Fight. Now, this is one of the high points for Netmarble through Marvel Future Fight this year, is that the X-Men update was extremely well received. And we saw a lot of X-Men really shaking up the meta in the game, with Quicksilver quickly rising to prominence for speed, dethroning it from the fairly newly crowned Kid Kaiju, who had taken over from Elsa. We had Magneto make a reasonable statement in the blaster category, especially when teamed up with Cyclops, and now Cable has completely taken over the blaster category and is probably the best blaster to date, even beating out Doctor Strange and Sharog, even Star Uniform Sharog. But Star Uniform Sharog still really holds her own. I think she's a little bit more forgiving than Cable, but Cable just fits in a little bit better. Wolverine completely took over Combat Hero when aided by Beast. However, for Combat Hero, if you have Dark Beast as a uniform, you have to change off of that. And of course, then we had some more recent updates for Thor Ragnarok. Again, still kind of a high point over there because Loki's uniform was good. Thor's was good. Hela rose to prominence a little bit. I had always liked Hela. I T2'd her well before the Thor update came out. And I got to say to a lot of people, see, I told you so. But her uniform definitely did make her better. And some of her skills a little bit more forgiving. We had a game come out called Cloud Pirates, which is basically a World of Tanks, but with flying ships. It was kind of a fun game. DC Legends did the Wonder Woman movie event and gave us perhaps one of the most obnoxious tanks in DC Legends. Heroes of the Storm gave us Malthael from the Diablo universe. And we will also, right in the beginning of 2018, be seeing the Diablo 2 Resurrection come back again, where you have the Diablo 2 event within Diablo 3, just like they had done last year. Good way to kind of go back and see some older Diablo stuff within a modern game. Marvel Future Fight had the Spider-Man Homecoming update right around the time DC Legends gave us Blue Beetle, Terra, and Nightwing. Marvel Avengers Alliance, of course, still really missing that. Stukov hit in Heroes of the Storm from the StarCraft universe. Very interesting healer. Had a lot of fun playing him. Gigantic went live in the middle of the summer. And then shortly after that, we had the Marvel Future Fight bonus round for the X-Men update when Apocalypse hit and changed up the world bosses a little bit. We also then got Ares in DC Legends along with Livewire, and some reworks to Superman. Cyborg Superman showed up. Marvel Future Fight gave us the Monsters Unleashed update. Saviors of the Multiverse came exposed to me around August of 2017, and it netted me the most views in the entire year with nearly 8,300 views, and it was nice to see something like that again, because I will fully be honest in saying that I lost my stride when Marvel Avengers Alliance died. The magnetic north of my videos on YouTube swung wildly. It was a little bit of Heroes of the Storm and Marvel Future Fight and DC Legends and World of Warcraft and Heroes of the Storm. It was just 2017 as a whole was a very odd year because I didn't really have that one game that I settled on that really drew in a lot of traffic and was something that my mind constantly was on. Marvel Strike Force could be that, and certainly Saviors of the Multiverse would definitely be that if it pops up. But that one's not up to me. Marvel Strike Force, I think I will try to stick with very heavily right in the beginning and see how that goes on launch. Also, in early 2017, as a life update, I started working again, so all that streaming that I used to do in 2015 and throughout 2016 with the Marvel games was not really that accessible anymore because I wasn't working at the time. Chronoblade resurfaced on mobile devices, not in the States though, but it was very easy to get the APK. Chronoblade was a very, very fun Facebook game right around the time Marvel Avengers Alliance had released, and I was playing a lot of FP games. Very fun action game, kind of like a Rusty Hearts or a Streets of Rage, but unfortunately it got shut down in August. Fun game. It was really nice playing that again, and we lost that. Speaking of losses, EA of course shut down a few other studios like Visceral, which is the Dead Space series. So EA and Perfect World both canceled a lot of games right around the same time, and it was pretty shitty. It was an absolutely devastating blow to see some of the outfits that EA was closing. So moving on to the late summer, we had some more updates on Saviors of the Multi-Universe. We still hadn't heard that the dev was going underground a little bit. Argus showed up for World of Warcraft, which gave us a ton of new content. DC Legends gave us Lobo and Vixen, with Lobo being an absolute pain in the ass in that game over there with his very heavy constant resurrection. We got more Age of Apocalypse items in Marvel Future Fight. And then we had a few double events over there. Then we kind of began to lose hope in Marvel, in Saviors of the Multiverse, because we weren't really seeing updates. And then, of course, that's right around the time the dev said, nobody in my house is really working, and I need to go out and get good jobs and kind of cover the expenses in my house. I came across a mobile zombie game called Sunny that is also on Steam that supposedly is a very good Marvel Avengers Alliance clone, with Sunny kind of being like the agent. But the problem is that the Steam version, or the mobile version, you don't get to really control the other characters the way that you could when Sunny was apparently available as a flash game on the web. So the graphics got better, but the gameplay apparently got kind of screwed up, and not a lot of people liked the mobile version of Sunny. In October, we had the Thor Ragnarok update for Marvel Future Fight. BlizzCon hit. I started the new G4G news segments, and one of the first things that I covered, and this was kind of a trend in 2017, was sexual misconduct allegations going on from a Twitch streamer by the name of Crystal against NRG's former manager, Hotaros. Now this one I still need to check up on, because I don't truly believe things went down the way she said. Not because of any sexist ideas or anything. I just feel her story had a lot of holes in it, to which he pointed it out when he put out his statement. And I don't necessarily believe that things went down exactly the way that she said. Shortly after that, Disney and Gazillion broke their partnership, and Gazillion was forced to shut down Marvel Heroes. Then it got really bad with Marvel Heroes, because they had a timeline to sunset it gradually up until about Christmas, and then by the time Thanksgiving hit, Gazillion just completely shuttered up. They let people go without paying out vacation. They left many console customers wondering what's going to happen with repayment of purchases. They were not stepping up and honoring anything, to which Sony and Microsoft later said, well, if Gazillion won't do it, we'll do it. And then Xbox or Microsoft really gave you any money back that you spent, whereas Sony for the PlayStation gave you back, I think, 60 days. People on the PC got nothing, but I don't think anybody really complained about PC purchases, because we had way more time in the game than the console people. EA, around this time, well, to continue actually along with Gazillion, before we wrap up that topic, Gazillion had some sexual misconduct going on there too, which could have been one of the reasons why Disney decided to break the partnership. They may not have wanted to associate with somebody who is apparently harassing every single woman in sight, including people he really shouldn't have. Moving on over there, EA, Electronic Arts, then has the big Star Wars Battlefront 2 debacle with the loot boxes. This literally set the trend for loot boxes as we wrap up 2017 and go into 2018. It became such a hot topic that countries like Belgium and states like Hawaii considered outlawing loot boxes as gambling. Also, there was very concern for the youth that is not actually of legal age to gamble, and if they were spending money, real life money, on these loot boxes, technically they are engaging in gambling underage. So EA just kept getting shit on the whole end of the year between the studios that it was shutting down, Star Wars Battlefront, the loot boxes, and Star Wars Battlefront 2 is apparently not even that good of a game. There was a lot of fucking Rotten Tomatoes going on about that game. So they finally listened and got rid of it, but who knows if it'll come back. I think they're waiting to see how the lay of the land goes before trying to bring those boxes back, but they might sneak them back in some way, shape, or form. South Park Phone Destroyer comes out, and then very quickly afterward has a lot of cheating issues going on in the game, to which they turn to mobile security called Safety Net, which makes the game unplayable on most emulators and any device that seems to be rooted. So once again, in the Android universe, rooting equals bad, when we all know that is not necessarily the case. Safety Net is ridiculously oversensitive, and it is severely limited the devices that I can play Phone Destroyer on, including my emulators. I could turn the root mode off, but why would I want to? Netmarble, following on the heels of EA, does the absolute stupidest thing we've ever seen them do and give the Ultimates loot boxes in-game. Not only would this have been a bad thing for Marvel Future Fight fans who never had to deal with exact same mechanic before as a loot box, we've had obviously other RNG items, but we've never had loot boxes for such expensive amounts of crystals. Not only was it a bad idea if that just happened, but it was a super bad idea right after the Star Wars Battlefront issue. I mean, the issue was so bad for EA that they were on the hook for trillions or billions of dollars, I think it was, in lost revenue in their stock. And places like the New York Times was covering it. And you had, stock people saying now is not a time to get stock in EA because of the loot box issue. When you see such a big company in such hot water, why would you go and do the very thing that they're doing? If somebody put cinnamon in chili and everybody's like, oh my god, this is the worst thing ever, I got sick to my stomach, I was puking for 2 days, why are you going to go out and put cinnamon in fucking chili? When a chain just did it and got in trouble, like, why are you going to do it? So, really, really ridiculous stupidity on Netmarble's point. However, supposedly by January 10th, the loot boxes will go away. They were just really, really stupid about that, and they just continued to make it worse until finally they made it better. Hanzo was released in Heroes of the Storm along with Alex Straza. We have a new mobile game, Marvel Strike Force, coming out. And to wrap it up for Saviors of the Multiverse, as you know, the dev has come out of the woodwork and responded to at least one person on Reddit with a direct message. So what is 2018 going to bring us? Well, I think 2018 will be the year of VR. We're going to see a lot more things popping out for VR. I myself picked up a Razer OS VR headset and a Leap motion controller that I really have not used yet. I need to use my OS VR more, as I have several friends that are really into VR stuff, including VR Payday, and I think even a little bit of VR Chat. Hopefully we see a very quick stop to the trend of sexual misconduct occurring within the world of gaming, like what happened with the HOTS case and Gazillion, everything like that. I really would like to not hear that people are being mistreated at cons and, you know, Twitch streamers are being harassed and everything like that. There is currently a very loud backlash going on about booby streamers on Twitch. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if Twitch does anything more along those lines in 2018. You know, people are entitled to go watch it just the same way you're entitled to go watch some strippers and get a lap dance and everything like that. It's up to you whether or not you want to watch content that is being put out there on Twitch by simply a potentially attractive individual with titties that maybe is or is not good at the game that they're playing, or go to people who are actually competitive and skilled and, you know, play at the higher levels of that particular game. It would be nice if the things coincided, but we all know sometimes that is not the case. And, you know, there's been several Twitch streamers that have had vacations because of mistakes. Wardrobe malfunctions and shit. 3D related items seem to have totally died. You never hear much about 3D TVs anymore. Kodi has branched out and actually come back to the Xbox as a Xbox One app that you can get through normal means. It's not particularly roundabout way. And then once you get it, you are certainly able to put on whatever repos and add-ons you want, essentially turning an Xbox One into the biggest media unit of all time. You just load that thing up and load up Kodi, and you have a Hulu box, a Netflix box, a Twitch box, a you know, hacked add-on box and everything like that right on your Xbox One. And, you know, with 4K content and everything. So hopefully 2018 will bring a little bit of a magnetic north for my videos on here, and I'll find a game that I really stick with and have high views and everything again. So hope you guys appreciate the wrap up. If you're on the East Coast, sorry if you're dealing with this ridiculously cold weather. I think it's probably what got me sick in the middle of the week, a little after Christmas. So hope everybody's healthy, staying warm, and I will see you guys next year. Peace out, everybody.